Let's switch gears now. You were in Los Angeles a few weeks ago in Jessie Vargas' corner against Timothy Bradley. Your thoughts on that fight, both the first 11 3/4 of a round and then the last few seconds of that fight and then the stoppage?
You know what, I think, and I haven't had a chance to debrief this yet really with Jessie. We've spoken a few times since the fight. He's been very discouraged as to feeling that for that brief moment that he was robbed of a victory. You know, like he felt that. You know, I think maybe he has a certain point to his arguments. You know, you have to wonder, did the referee make a mistake? You know, was it a legitimate mistake? Even if it was a mistake, should you have to live with the consequences of making a mistake? So I think the best way to settle it is a rematch. You know, let's do this again. I mean, I think that Vargas proved with Bradley, and I think Vargas could definitely even improve on what he did in the first half of the fight. And I think when he looks back on it, he's going to see that there were opportunities that he could have capitalized on with Bradley, and maybe waited too late to do so. You know, he could have done that earlier. So having said that, and with what happened, you know, with seconds remaining in the fight where he hurts Bradley and he feels like I've got him now, and that's kind of interrupted and broken, and the ref jumps in at an inopportune moment, you know, to kill the momentum of what, like Jessie says, you don't know that in that moment, I just need one more shot, and if he goes down and is bad, the referee might not have an option to stop it. Similar to Julio Cesar Chavez and Meldrick Taylor, that kind of a thing. It could be just that one punch difference, and you can be saved by the bell in the last round. So he really would have had his full time to do it, and I understand the kid. You know, he wants that. He thought for a fleeting moment that he had it. So you know, let's settle it. It was a great fight. So let's do it again. And I think Jessie Vargas vastly improves on his second performance against Tim Bradley. I think it would be an even better fight than it was, and it's got interest now. It's got momentum. So you know, it's a great thing to do. I hope Jessie gets the rematch.
So we've talked about Vargas. We talked about the heavyweights. Let's fall right down in the middle now. Thoughts on the evolution of one of your proteges, Lemieux, and his recent evolution since your split, and what you see is in store for him, what you feel is in store?
Well, I mean, the world is his oyster right now. You know, like it's funny because there has to be some archival interviews and stuff, especially locally. I had David since he was 9 years old. I trained him from the very beginning, turned him pro at 18, and my plan was that I wanted to get him to 40-0 before he fought for a world title. That was the plan. It was, if you don't remember at the time, Julio Cesar Chavez was building up his record and was moving up to somewhere like 40-0, and he had started very young. And that was the model that I wanted to pattern Lemieux's career after. And that was what I wanted to do. That was what I had. I know what the pro game is like. I know how difficult it would be. Then David came along and had immediate success, started knocking guys out. And the more he had success, the less committed he was to the sport, the less committed he was to the game. He suddenly started to realize boxing's easy. I just hit guys on the chin and I get them out of there. He was training harder when he was fighting when he was making his pro debut in 4-round fights than he was fighting guys like Elvin Ayala or Marco Antonio Rubio. And we clashed heads enormously on that. Like, we really had issues on that, to the point where I had gone to the promoter and spoken to him and said that, you know, we have a problem here. You know, he's not doing this. We need to put him on the bench for a while. We need to let him know that this is not the way the game works, blah, blah, blah. And they didn't really buy into that. No, he's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. And then the Marco Antonio Rubio fight came along. And David, while he was fresh, you know, battered Rubio, you know, like he was really a dominant force against Rubio until he ran out of gas, and then I stopped the fight. David, up until in that fight, 30 days before at the WBC 30-day weigh-in, was 22 pounds overweight. You know, he had to lose weight to make the 30-day weight limit. So when he ran out of gas, I had no other choice but to stop the fight, and I hoped that would be the wake-up call for him, you know. And we tried, we talked to him. It wasn't having the result that I wanted, and I said, you know, maybe it's best if you do it your way. Maybe I'm the problem for you. You know, maybe you don't want to listen to me anymore. And I think that was a little bit of a shock for him. But whatever it was, it worked. because it put him back on the track that he needed to be to get him to the point where he is now to win the title, which was the exact point, virtually, he's almost got 40 fights now as a pro, that I had predicted he would be to win a world title. So, if I did something good in that regard was to give him the wake-up call and, kind of like a cold water shower and say, this is it. And, now he's with my friend Mark Ramsey, who I work with all of his fighters. And, he's in the gym, he's training regularly, he's back to doing the things that made him the star coming up, and so I'd like to feel that I had an input in that, in that even though I'm not there, the tools and the what he's got is what he learned as a kid and what came along, and now he's doing the training that we wanted him to do during the year or so that he wasn't really serious to the sport. So if by telling him, I'm out, woke him up, then I did a good job, and he's champion of the world now.
And you have been quoted as saying that he also had an opportunity to work on his defense, and while improvements have been clear in his career, it still seems that he takes a lot of unnecessary chances. So how does a man like Lemieux fare against a come-forward fighter like himself, a Saul Alvarez, a Gennady Golovkin, the guys that are in his weight division or around it?
Well, there's one thing about David. He doesn't bring a gun to a knife fight. So he'll go, one way or another, he'll go. If it means go down swinging, he'll go down swinging. So I think in terms of the technical aspect in the training, you probably now would be better off to ask Mark Ramsey what he thinks about that, and because he has a more hands-on day-to-day approach. But David, as I know him as a character, whether it's Golovkin or whether it's Cotto or whether it's Canelo, if they want to go, as they say, like in a hockey term, if they want to drop the gloves, he'll drop with them. He'll go. He'll bring it and let the chips fall where they may. That's his character. That's what makes him a crowd-pleasing fighter. That's why they like him on television, because he'll go. He'll take those punches and he'll come forward and he'll work, and he banks on the power a lot, but it's a lot of power to bank on, though. It's not bad.
That's a fact. So we saw you in Macau. We saw your brand rival at the Vegas in the boxing show.
Right.
We've been seeing increasingly more of you over the last year. Tell us, just give us an update on your gym, your career, your brand, and how that's all looking.
You know what? I have to say that, excuse me, to me it's almost now like I had these visions as a kid, these fantasies of wanting to be in the corner of the heavyweight champion of the world. I wanted to work in the corner with great fighters. And it was a fantasy, like as a kid, it's nothing more than that, than a fantasy. So now living that and doing it is really something that's exciting for me. I can't believe at times that it's happening. And I think back of those thoughts I had as a kid and how crazy my parents must have thought I was, and that now I'm living this. So it's wonderful. We opened, as you know, we opened the rival store in Vegas, and just to show you how sometimes things happen. That whole idea of opening the store was a result of Jean Pascal having his training camp down there when we were scheduled for the first Butte fight before it got canceled. And Mark Ramsey got there a couple of days before I did and told me, yeah, we're here, the house is nice, you got your room, everything is good. He says, by the way, right near the house, he says, there's a billiards supply store, because he knows I love to play pool and stuff. So he says, well, check it out when you get here. So great. A couple of days later, I go down and we'll take the stuff into the house and unpack, and he says, come on, I'll show you the place. So we go to this billiard supply store, and I walk in there and look around. It's really nice, and it's right on Sunset and Paradise. So what a great name, right? Sunset and Paradise. So I look at this, and as I come out, there's two doors to an adjacent unit right next door. And I don't know why, I just went up to the glass and I put my hand on the window like this, and I looked in, and it was an empty space, and I saw a vision of Rival being there. And virtually 18 months to the day, we had the grand opening of the Rival store in Vegas. And it's a great accomplishment for me as a kid from Montreal, that I opened up a place in Las Vegas, and my brand is out there, and great fighters are using our brand. It's a good product. Everyone who has it likes it. I was in Vegas the other night, and I was out playing pool like I do late at night, where it's peaceful and quiet, and I'm driving back to my hotel. It's about 3 in the morning, and I'm driving back, and I'm on the highway, and I look up, and I see the rival sign, and instinctively I took my foot off the gas to say, hey, who's using my logo? And then I realized that was my store. I had forgotten, that was my place. So that's going well, and I'm happy that a little while ago, a little over a year ago, we helped an amateur boxing club in Oklahoma City who had all their equipment stolen. And I came up with the idea. They called looking for help, and I came up with the idea and said, would you like to be a rival boxing gym? And they've been our biggest supporter of Rival, and so we have the first gym we opened in the United States was in Oklahoma City, and it was Rival Boxing Gym OKC, and they've been just the best people you could possibly deal with, and they support us and we support them, and they painted their gym and they've made it really look nice, and they really represent us wonderfully, and we couldn't have asked for better people to represent us and our brand, and so those are kind of accomplishments that I'm really proud of. Like I said, to me it's like living this fantasy that I had that could not possibly have come true. Like it was a dream, like it was so far away, and January 17th, Deontay Wilder, I'm in the corner of the guy who becomes the heavyweight champion of the world, from Alabama. His name is the Bronze Bomber. My hero, my father's hero was Joe Louis, who was born in Alabama and was the Brown Bomber. I mean, you have no idea. We could sit here for way too long than you have time on your camera to film the coincidence and the subtleties and all the things that have happened that have brought me to this point in my life. And I'm grateful that I'm here. I'm living a dream. My wife keeps saying, we want to go on vacation. I said, my life is a vacation. I don't have to go on vacation. I have to go to work, actually. I haven't been to work. I should go to work. My life is a vacation.
And you know what? Every time we see you working hard, but you always have a smile on your face. So we appreciate that as media, and we appreciate as fans.
Well, I appreciate it too, and I do. I enjoy it, and I love it, and I'm passionate about doing it. And for me, it's exciting. And how lucky are we, that we can make our living doing what we love and doing what I did at one time in my life for free. As a matter of fact, paid to do it. Cost me money to do it because I loved it so much. And especially when you have people who actually say, "Oh, I want you to come down. Oh, I want you to work my fight." That's the best call you can get. Like for in any walk of life, when people call you and want your services, that makes you feel like you've really accomplished something. And I really love it, man. I'm so happy when I know that I'm going somewhere. I'm thrilled to death. I love car rentals. I love airports. I love hotels. What more do you need?
Russ, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it as always.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.